We begin with some breaking news about the whereabouts of Wagner Group leader Yevgeny Prigozhin. Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko, who brokered a deal to end Wagner's armed move against Moscow, says Prigozhin is in Russia and not Belarus, as previously claimed. Wagner's boss has not been seen in public since the failed mutiny. The White House has previously said it has no reliable information to confirm his whereabouts. Joining me now is DW Russia analyst Konstantin Eggert, who is joining us from Vilnius. Konstantin, so we have this claim now from Lukashenko that Prigozhin is in Russia, but there has been no independent confirmation. What do we know about Prigozhin's whereabouts?
We know very little. He didn't show anywhere in public, indeed, since the mutiny. I would not vest too much trust into whatever Lukashenko, for that matter, Putin, are saying. They habitually sort of tell untruths, to put it mildly. And there is a lot of, smoke around Prigozhin. Now, what we do know, though, is that his house was searched and lots of interesting things were found there, including huge quantities of cash, certain photos which suggest that he was trying different disguises. I also know that several passports with his picture but in different names were found over the last few days in his residence and office. At the same time, there are no legal proceedings against him. And the only thing maybe which is closest to his appearance is rumors that he was seen entering his office in St. Petersburg. But again, no pictures, no independent confirmation. Frankly, Sarah, if I were Prigozhin, I would keep as far away from Russia and Belarus as I could, because, of course, he infuriated Putin, and I'm certain that, his death sentence, sort of metaphorically speaking, was already signed.
Konstantin, let's look at another claim from Lukashenko, who says that he looks forward to hosting Wagner mercenaries in Belarus. But I'm quoting here, he says that the question of their transfer and setup has not yet been decided. What more are you hearing about that claim?
Well, actually, there is no proof that at least a big sort of number of the Wagner mercenaries are in Belarus. There were satellite photos of allegedly 3 deployment camps for them, but in Belarus. That worried a lot, neighboring Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia. But at the same time, it's not clear whether there are any people in these camps. Frankly speaking, I think we very soon should stop talking about the Wagner Group. The Wagner Group existed until the mutiny. Now it was de facto disbanded. And if anyone wants to join new private military companies, which do exist in Russia, they can probably do it. Those who want to join the Russian army for much smaller amounts of money, they can probably do that. And others can go, well, maybe to Russia, maybe somewhere else. But I do think that the Wagner Group as an entity it's over. It doesn't exist anymore. But
Konstantin, what happens to those mercenaries who indeed were fighting in Ukraine? Have they simply been taking the alternate offer to sign contracts with the Russian military? Wasn't opposition to that what the whole uprising was about?
I think that if they sign up for the army, they will have different conditions. Private military companies exist for a reason. It's not a regular army. The chain of command is different. The initiative taken by these mercenaries is completely different, and their use on the battlefield is also different. I think that a lot of them would not join the Russian army just because they wouldn't like the discipline, they wouldn't like the attitude, because I'm certain that a lot of people, especially a lot of officers, would be looking at these people with suspicion. So I think that this offer stands, but I do not think a lot of them will take it up.
Konstantin, let's move on to another element of this story, because there's been so much speculation about, whether there's a crackdown underway, to what extent it might be underway in the military, security services, and the elites there in Russia. For example, Russian General Sergei Surovikin has not been seen since the Wagner uprising. What is likely happening right now in Russia?
It's a great question, Sarah, because on the one hand, Putin has to punish those who betrayed him. And it seems there was some kind of betrayal, that there was some kind of plot to help Prigozhin at least remove the Minister of Defense and the Chief of General Staff. So punishment is due. On the other hand, if Putin starts major public purge, he will look very badly, because it will just signify that Putin is so weak that you can hatch a plot against him. And this plot may be very massive, maybe not. So I suppose that this disappearance of General Surovikin and actually a couple of other people just means that if a purge is conducted, it will be conducted more or less quietly, at least for now, so as not to produce an impression that a major part of the military establishment suddenly turned on Putin. As for Surovikin himself, there was an interesting story 2 days ago. You can send postcards to prisoners, literally hard copy, paper postcards. And one volunteer from an NGO sent such a postcard addressed to Surovikin to FSB prison in Moscow, and it was accepted. What people in the know say is that if the prisoner is not in prison, the postcard is returned. So we can suspect that Surovikin is probably being interrogated by FSB as we speak.
DW Russia analyst Konstantin Eggert, thank you so much for that reporting.
Thank you.